Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.
Hello. Welcome to episode 149 of 15 Minutes of Genius. And this is the first historic times here on our podcast. This is remote because our host, hopefully, Mark, I'm just going to say it, even though it might be a little personal, but I'm going to say it anyway because people will find out. But you got COVID, so we're not in a studio. Can't be close to each other, right? Okay, the cat's out of the bag. So he's like, whatever, you said it. Okay, it's done. I guess the power that Mark has is he can always edit any of this. He can make me say stupid ass things by editing together different words. It's kind of like Shark Tank. They edit things together to make people look worse or better. So anyway, that was a tangent. So we bring on, and we haven't done this for a while, the tapings, but now we're back in it. And we bring on great entrepreneurs, people that I meet at random events in LA, and I'm like, yeah, she seems pretty cool, or he seems pretty cool, and they have a great product or great software, great service. And sometimes I forget who I meet and when, but then I get reminded once we do this podcast about how great they are. So this is this exact woman. I'm like, I've seen her. Where is she from? And she's like, I met you a month ago at an event, and now she's coming on our podcast. So before going to her and rolling into our guest, we just wanted to give a big plug to Mark Nicholas, Mark at ManhattanBeachStudios.net. He's our producer. No studio today, but he is the man that is running this entire program. So, Mark, thank you, my man. Hope you're feeling good. Thumbs up. Okay, great. There it is. All right. I see the picture in picture. So do they see it too, or anyway? So, all right. So let's get into it. And you know what I'm going to do, Natasha, is I'm just going to give the intro very kind of off the cuff. That's kind of what I'm doing now. And a little bit about you. I'm just going to go to LinkedIn. That's really where I get all my information from. That's where I get all my intelligence from and education. So about Natasha Soleil, and I again met her at a Naturally LA event. She's from She's a Silicon Valley publicist and biz dev executive that always worked with consumer brands and tech companies. She's also available for speaking engagements. You'll see why. She has a lot of charisma, and she's been a speaker at many different universities, including UCLA, USC, UTA, and many tech events and conferences over the years. So there's a lot here, but she basically started the app, which is called Remake. And it's a soft launching. It's a soft launch. It's at remake.app. That's remake.app. And you can discover different brands on there in a much easier format. So anyway, that's my intro off the cuff. Hope it sounded good. Natasha, how are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me on your show.
Exactly. You seem a lot more shy. Like, yeah, you're like super outgoing and you're like, hi. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm like, wow, it's like a new personality here.
Well, I haven't been on a podcast in a while.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get you back. Let's get you warmed up for podcast. So I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to shine the spotlight on you to talk about what you do. But before going into Remake and the app and the software, tell us your story about your background, about how you got into tech, and how that kind of eventually led to CPG and food and beverage. So let's hear the story.
So when I was 19, I moved from Canada to Silicon Valley, and I went to San Jose State University. It was the only university that would take me in January. So I enrolled, and within a month, I was the first radio DJ on the internet. With a live broadcast show, and I got the bug, and I started falling in love with technology and entertainment. And from there, I had a PR firm representing animation and music companies. I've worked with everyone, Capitol Records, Walt Disney, to Intel. And we had an animated series on Shockwave. This is a long time ago when animation was new on the internet. And After 10 years as a publicist and biz dev executive, I burned out and I started working as a producer. And this is my 5th project. My first one was Soleil Organics, which was an organic guide to shopping. And it was one of the top 10 apps for 5-6 years on Apple. And then I said, okay, well, my other passion is DIY. So I produced a publishing app. But before then, I almost missed. I worked with Michael Kamen, who's a very well-known film composer, and I sold my first project to Sony Pictures. And that was a big deal for me at the time. And from there, I started working with Syd Field, who's a very well-known book author on the art of screenwriting. And I sold a software program that I designed for him as well. So now I'm just working for myself, mostly as a producer. And my passion, I love music and animation, but my new passion is natural foods and trying to eat healthier. And I found it so frustrating to discover new brands. I mean, there's newsletters and emails, there's social media, and you have to walk around the store and randomly discover a brand. And so I wanted to create a solution to that problem by creating a hub where you can search and find. And that's basically how it started, you know?
Very cool. And then like, were there certain brands that kind of kicked off like what you're basically doing? Like you discovered certain brands that you really, really loved, and you're like, hey, I want to start putting this on a platform. Like what kind of like started you down this path? Was like a select handful of brands?
Yes. So I have a son that loves chips, and I'm trying to have him eat healthy chips. So I love Siete Foods and their chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that if I buy a box of 6 of them, I get all these different flavors that I can't get at Whole Foods or in grocery stores. And I get a better deal from their website with a discount. And I get it delivered to my house. So I love that. I just can't remember over 50 brands and to subscribe to them and to follow them. So chips were first, then I like power bars, you know, pantry staples. And then I got into different milks, cashew milk, almond milk. So I just didn't know what was the difference between cashew milk, almond milk, soy milk. What else? There's hemp milk now. And so it's just so much to keep up with. And you don't know why they're good for you, you know? So we do include a featured ingredient with the benefits, like a quick little introduction. Why is hemp milk good for you, or almond milk? Mm-hmm. And so we're educating the shoppers as well.
Very cool. All right. And so basically so you came from kind of the Silicon Valley, you created the app, the Soleil app, which I have not used, but obviously named after your last name. Why was that no longer in the running? Like, why was that discontinued? Why is it not on the App Store anymore? Was it just something you stopped working on, or what happened?
Right. So when you produce something or you develop, it's called a static app. And that means that the information doesn't change. It doesn't update. And it was just an old app, and I got tired of maintaining it. I feel like it had its run and I was ready for something new. But it was really good at the time because it was one of the first apps that when you go grocery shopping, you can see, should I buy it or should I skip it? So for example, asparagus, they don't have a lot of pesticides. So you don't have to buy asparagus organic. But strawberries are very, they get a lot of pesticides, and it's always better to have strawberries organic. So it was basically a guide how to go grocery shopping.
Oh, very cool. All right. So beyond the app, have you been able to monetize it at all?
Which app? The Soleil Organics?
Your new app. Yeah, Remake, the one you're doing now.
So my new Remake, so it took us 1.5 years to build it. And basically brands, it's a publishing tool, and they can easily upload all the information about their brand with a link where we can buy it. And the link can be a website, Instacart, Amazon, or even just a new grocery store and you want to send traffic. And so what the engine does, it tags all the keywords into SEO. So when I Google search, let's say red lentil pasta, all the big brands are going to be at the top of the search. But maybe a really cool smaller company has really a good product and will get lost in the shuffle. So we make sure that that product is featured in Remake and it's static. It's not going to get lost in algorithms or page refresh. When you search red lentil pasta and keyword organic, let's say, it's going to pop up there and it stays there live until you remove it. So it could stay there for 6 months, however long you want. And, I'm offering the whole platform for free right now. It's mostly about building a community and getting the brands to post and start using it. And so I have a code, a coupon code they can put in free3 for 3 months for free and post their products. We tag it for them. And then we review the product. So you can use that website link to promote your product as well. And it all ties into SEO and digital PR. And so that's how the platform works. But it's kind of like a store, right? So you can browse around the store. And if you like something, you like it. And if that brand comes out with something 3 months from now, you'll get a notification. If you don't want notifications, it stays on your profile. So when you visit the site, you can see who you're following and if they have anything new that you can buy.
Very cool.
We're just at the part. Yeah. So we're just at the part where we're gathering all the brands to sign up.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's definitely a great service here. I mean, you look at companies like Range Me, that I think have really, they're at that level where it's like, okay, they have the brand and they connect with, the buyer, right? The buyer finds the product and they scout it and then they bring the product into the store. So I guess, have you been thinking about a business model where eventually the brand can get a significant amount of revenue from being listed on your site or app by a buyer finding it or someone that's corporate versus just a customer? Have you been looking at more wholesale and versus just direct to consumer?
No, I've been in talks with a few grocery stores to create a partnership so we can highlight the new products they have in their grocery store and drive traffic to the grocery store website. But I didn't think of it. I feel like Range Me has that niche. So our niche is mostly digital PR. And I think whenever someone has a new brand, SEO is very expensive. And so we take care of that for you, and basically we just want to send traffic your way so you can have more sales. But for the shopper, they can start learning about these unique ingredients like cassava beans, almonds, why artichoke burgers would be good for you, so you can start learning about these really good ingredients, even coconuts. Why should you have a coconut drink? Why is it that much better than any other drink? And so you can start the shopper is learning about these ingredients and getting to know the brands and they can follow them. So it's a personalized introduction, and
very cool.
So that's it. Yeah.
Right on. And that's why we met. And by the way, the backstory is now I have a notepad because I'm writing notes down as we're talking. When I'm at home, right, versus in the studio, I have everything around me that I could use. And the comfort level is just, in the studio, it's freezing, it's cold. Sorry, Mark. It's kind of cold in there. There's shining lights on me. So you kind of deer in the headlights. But here, I have $100 coupons to restaurants, here that are just sitting right here. I have my golf hat, which is here. I have everything. I have bottles of Genius. Anyway, pretty random, but it's interesting. I love this experience from home because I'm the comfort level is something else. And the reason I mentioned that, when I first met you, it's we've been friends for a while. You know what I mean? It wasn't I was meeting a stranger. You have a personality that's very warm, very open, and you're just hey, let's get to know each other. Let's chat more. And you were also, without even any censor in a good way, you were making fun of the person I was talking with because he was very
100%.
he was very I won't say who you are. I won't say who you are, but you know who you are. And I'm going to send you this video so you can watch it. And I'm going to be like, at 14 minutes and 35 seconds, we're making fun of we're making fun out of you, you know. But he was kind of serious.
Well dressed.
Yeah, he was like overly dressed. Overly dressed.
He was overly dressed.
Know?
He was definitely a European intellectual, and
exactly
definitely 100% interested in teasing him just because he was so polite. So
exactly.
that was fun.
I mean, he has a big target on his back when you're like that. Yeah. Now what's really funny is that guy. His sense of humor. He's very goofy. He's very, very goofy, and he's from Germany, I believe. I think he's from Germany, and he's very, very goofy. Like, you get to know him, but it's funny. The European sense of humor is so different from the U.S. sense of humor. It's almost like a sophisticated sense of humor where you have to like think about the joke, you know, versus like a movie like Dumb and Dumber, right, which you get the jokes right away. His is like, you know, like what's that? You know, like those old like British kind of comedy shows, you know, like tumbling castles or whatever, tumbling towers. Remember that one or whatever? I forget. It was with a British actor. And anyway, it's like when you listen to his jokes, you have to think about it to understand them, and then you laugh. It's like a delayed laugh. With U.S. humor, it's just like, let me say something stupid, you know.
Well, I was really goofy that night. I was like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" I was full of energy, and he was just so proper. And the more proper he is, the more jokes I have, right? So like, I'm just building it up and having fun, and you know, you have to be that way, really. You know, life has to be fun, and you know, it has to be healthy too. So that's why
you're loosening people up, you're making them healthy, but just the approach was so funny because it was like, hey, I already know you. And like, you know, there was no like formalities. It's like, hey, how's it going? And by by the name of that comedy show is called Faulty Towers, not Tumbling Towers. So,
in English humor
with John
is so
Cleese.
reserved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, John Cleese is the main
European
guy.
blood. Yeah.
Okay.
I have hot,
so you have that sense of humor.
Blood. My mom is from France, and I'm half French, half Spanish, and my dad is from Croatia. So I just have that hot personality, right? We're very loud, similar to Italians, and I just have fun with people now because most people are very shy, right? And so the more shy they are, the more I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you're not opening up and you're not like loosening up, then you're just going to go right in there and be like on the attack in a good way. Be like, hey, you got to loosen up here. Like, come on, life is fun. It's let's be fun. Exactly. Like let's make fun of life instead of being so serious all the time. So, hey, I want to get into the next segment here, but before I do, if someone wants to go to your app, they just go to the App Store. Is it just Remake on the App Store?
No, so it's
how do you find it?
So it's a web app. So it's remake.app. And the reason we kept it as a web app is because we're tying in all the SEO and the tagging. And if they put in code free3, you get 3 months for free, right? Okay. And even after the 3 months, I made it very reasonable, like $100 to keep your product live. And it's very important for brands to know that you need a place for your brand to live. You know, it's like a home, right? So you have the website, and then you'll have Remake, and then you can go crazy and go on social media, send it to newsletters, but people don't open up newsletters anymore, you know? So Remake will hopefully just replace that part of marketing efforts.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was on the website here, chatting. And yeah, for sure. Very nice chatting. I think this was a more formal conversation than the one at Naturally LA, for sure. A little more tame.
Yes.
No curse words, no yelling. When I say yelling, like, you know, just both of us, like loud voices, and how you doing? And da-da-da. So anyway, really love to reconnect with you, and thanks for being on our show. We're going to go into our next segment, though, which is called Rapid Fire Questions.
Rapid Fire Questions.
Yeah. By the way, my wife just got home and she's just like, "Aren't you supposed to be in the studio right now? Like, what the hell is going on? You're at your computer doing this now?" So it's like fully remote. So, hey, hey, sweetie, I'm doing this from home this time, not from the studio. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, really? Nice." All right. So let's go to our questions here. She might make an appearance. Who knows, right? So
I hope
our
I can
question.
answer.
Yeah. So have you seen other episodes on what the questions are, or no? Are you completely
Just briefly,
blindsided right
like
now?
favorite movie, right? Favorite
Okay. So
movies,
you've seen
favorite
you
music.
kind of peeked. You cheated a little bit, but not all the way. Okay. All right.
Right.
So here are the questions. Just answer them as quickly as you can. Let's start. So the
Okay.
first one is for music, which decade is best, the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I would say the 80s. But I was
80s.
a
Okay.
teenager. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the 90s, I like the electronic music in the 90s. I was a big, I was
You were a
going out to
teenager in
all
the 2000s, right? Teenager in the 2000s, right?
That's when I was a
It's just a
teenager.
flattering
But the
compliment.
90s,
Yeah.
90s was good for rock, but electronic music, the late 90s. And I was going out to all the concerts like Chemical Brothers. You remember
Yep.
them?
I remember them. Yep. Yep. All right. Next question. What do you do for exercise?
I go hiking and I swim. I swim every day.
Cool.
I lap swim. And then I love hiking. We have bobcats and coyotes here. I've been seeing a lot of bobcats. But I like hiking about an hour every day.
Awesome. That's very active. It's good. So movie you can watch, and this is the one that the question that you know already. Movie you can watch in a limited amount of times.
You know, I was thinking about that, and there was a movie called Spirited Away. It's from Japan. It's a Russian movie.
Yeah, it was anime.
Such a oh, it's such a good story, and it really touched me. And I haven't seen it in a while, but that's something I could watch over and over. It's so well produced, and the storyline is really lovely. And so that would be my favorite movie.
Very cool. Yeah, I do remember that movie when it came out. I think it came out like in the early 2000s or late 90s or something.
Yeah.
Long time ago. But it's amazing. It
And
still
sorry,
holds up.
just joking around about the 80s. I mean, I was barely a teenager in the 80s. I'm not that old, you know, but I just love like Simple Minds and Erasure. And then
Yeah.
in the 90s, I loved my rock and the electronic music. I was really big into house and drum and bass music in the 90s.
A lot of variety. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So next question here. Favorite country to travel to?
I would say, well, I'm from Canada, but I really love going to France because I just love the food. And I used to live there for many years. And that's how I got into organic farming. And my family owns a lot of land over there. I just love the food, the people, everybody's relaxed.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
it's
it's definitely a different culture there for sure. Different from the US. I'll leave it at that. What is your spirit? What is your I skipped one, your favorite Star Wars character?
Oh, geez. I'm not very good at that. What's my favorite Star Wars character? I would say Princess Leia, because she's a beautiful,
Princess Leia,
powerful woman.
Yeah, that's the first time anyone's answered Princess Leia. So it's usually either
Sorry, I didn't.
Yoda, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Ben Kenobi, but Princess Leia, that's a first in a good way.
No,
Yeah,
she's
a great.
beautiful and she's a powerful woman, and I love that. Right?
Yeah, totally. Very self-empowered. I mean, she was like acting as a general for some of the movies, right? She was like directing the troops. So I think I remember I used to collect Star Wars figures. So there was Princess Leia, and then there was Leia in gear when she rescued Han Solo in the third one from Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
And then there's another one where it was General Leia or something. So she's been so many different roles within Star Wars. And all right.
Yeah.
So next one.
And
When I get started on Star Wars, I don't stop. So I got to stop myself. So do you like to drive an SUV, a coupe, or a truck?
I have a car that's half SUV, half car. It's a hybrid. It's so I used to have a big SUV, but I really loved being a little bit of a smaller car now.
Got it. I think, for those, just a shameless plug for the Model Y is like that car to me. Like, I got the Model Y, me and my wife did, before it became ridiculously expensive because all the
Yeah,
pricing has gone up on Tesla like by 30% or something. But we got
yeah.
a short range Model Y, which was very affordable. And like, it's like, dude, this is not the Model 3, which is way too small for me because I'm 6'4", but this is not a huge SUV. It's kind of right in the middle. So
I'm kind of like
anyway,
that. I mean, hey, so I was at a dinner party and I met a guy who was one of the investors for Tesla. He just put in 50,000, like, and he goes,
and now he's
"Oh, it was just kind of like a crazy entrepreneur. I just put in 50 grand." He never thought about it, right? And now,
now it's worth
millions
like
over.
100 million. Yeah, it's
Right.
probably worth so much money,
So
so much money. Yeah. Wow. So good person to know. Maybe you can be an investor in your company, right?
I
Right.
know, but there is yeah, you know, I've been doing this for such a long time. This is my fifth platform or product. And it's just my passion is natural foods and building good, strong immunity. And I feel like the average person doesn't understand all the ingredients, right? And so it's really and then the brands are wonderful entrepreneurs. You want to support them, right? You want to buy directly from them so they can be
Exactly.
successful. So I hope like Remake place that's a community where everyone can meet up and we can support the brands. And for the shoppers, they're learning, they're following, So I just want to let you know, free 3 if you put the coupon code, so it's free, and anyone could just email me if they need help.
Sure. I'll put that in the comment section and also the listing, the copy. So we'll make sure it's covered. For food, I just want to get through this. For foods, salty or sweet?
I would say sweet, like really good chocolate.
Good stuff. And then favorite week and why?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Favorite day of the week and why?
Definitely Friday,
Right.
because you're
Okay.
like, you can relax, take a deep breath, and just wake up late tomorrow. And as I
Exactly.
just enjoy just having a nice glass of wine on the patio and relaxing, and just
Living
letting it
life.
go, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're living the dream. All right. So Uber or Lyft?
I actually don't do any of them because I've had a few bad experiences. So
Mm,
um,
it's kind
I
of
would just
sketchy
do a
out there.
regular. You know who's really good? Beverly Hills Taxi. But I do have the Uber app once in a while if I need it at an airport
Right.
instead of Lyft.
Got it. And then the greatest of all time, if you're a sports fan at all, there's LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant. Which one do you think which one's your favorite?
So I grew up right by Detroit, Michigan, watching the Pistons as a teenager, and they would go against the Chicago Bulls. Definitely Michael Jordan. When you see him
Yeah,
in
I would
real
agree.
life, I mean, I was maybe 14 years old, and he's flying. There's no way around it. I would have my seats were like right off the floor, and it was just amazing
Mhm.
to see him in real life. And I love what he's doing. He's really
Yeah,
reviving. His business investments are great. He's just a great person.
exactly. And then if you're a movie fan for action movies, Terminator 1 or Terminator 2, which one do you think was better?
I think the first one is always better, right? Because then they try to be as good as the first one, and it doesn't really stick.
Yeah. I thought the second one was better
Oh
because like the
no.
first one was it was different. It was different. The first one was like this kind of lower budget. Like the special effects were not great, but the story was great. The acting was great. The second one
Yeah,
was just like a high powered action movie with great special effects, like amazing special effects.
right.
So
But I preferred
um,
the storyline.
story, I
I
think
really love the story, and
yeah, I think
the
in
special
general,
effects,
like
they just come and go. What?
yeah, I think in general, like just usually like yeah, it goes both ways, but I've seen like women like, they want to get the story, the character development. I've seen that. Like my wife loves
Right.
characters and story. And like the guys, like I just want to, action and like shotguns and like flying motorcycles and helicopters, and we're just suckers for that. So,
Exactly.
last question. Yeah.
Oh,
so
another
it's
one.
totally
Okay.
stereotypical for guys. Just, So, favorite food or drink if you're stuck on a deserted island and you cannot say Genius Juice and you cannot say any brands that are on Remake, the Remake app.
My favorite drink.
Favorite food or drink, and if you're stuck on a deserted island.
I would say a childhood favorite, which is Orangina. It's
yeah,
just
those are
that
good.
citrus. Yeah, and it's my childhood favorite drink. I don't know how natural it is anymore because now I really try to buy organic and natural. But anything that's like an Italian soda, I like a sparkling water with a little bit of citrus. And and for food wise, definitely not a power bar. I would want something like just really fresh bread. I mean, that's what we would crave, right? Fresh bread with butter on it.
Exactly. Very French. You have the bread, you have the wine, you have the Perrier with the citrus in it. It's you're nailing, where you're from. Like everything you do is where you're from.
But I'm Canadian mostly. But I am trying a new recipe to make almond flour crepes. So they're very thin. You can still eat a crepe and it's healthy for you instead of using wheat or flour. But yeah, cool. I am very French. I tend to forget.
Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun and it was really good to reconnect. And I'm glad we made this podcast happen. So this has been, and by the way, for anyone who wants to find your app, it's just Remake, REMAKE.app. And you can look it up, just type it right in your browser. And there's going to be, what is it again? The coupon code one more time, free 3?
Free. Yeah, just free 3. So for 3 months for free.
Okay.
Free.
And it's a number 3, or is it spelled out?
Number 3.
Number 3. Free, FREE.
Number 3.
3. Okay, make sure to type that in. You get 3 free months, as if you couldn't tell from the coupon name. And Natasha, really great having you on the show for episode 149. And I'll see you at the next Natural LA event. And take good care.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so that has been episode 149. And big plug to Mark Nicholas, Mark@and ManhattanBeachStudios.net. Probably a little bit of fuzziness, the quality, just because of Wi-Fi. We're at that hour where everyone is either on Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, HBO Max. There's too many out there. Everyone's streaming right now. So we got to get the high-powered streaming back in the studio where we usually have this. So again, Mark@and ManhattanBeachStudios.net. Mark Nicholas, he is our producer. Make sure to reach out to him, and he can help you out with audio, video. He can do podcasting for you. He can do it all. So anyway, that is it. And one last thing, stay genius remotely, my friends.
Genius for life. Coconut smoothies coming at you.